In today's video, I'm going to check how PID affects the steaming, milk frothing. So for that, I'm going to use this steam relay which I've installed. And let's talk about theory right away because it's important. Originally, we have thermostat, so we usually turn on the steam and wait for around 40 seconds or before this light goes on, so around 10 seconds before it goes on, in order to thermostat to switch back on during the steaming. And in PID we can set the temperature, so I've set standard 137 degrees Celsius, and it will start heating up the boiler right away when it cools down 0.1 degrees. So in theory it should give a more stable steam power. Above the steam they have Supersteam module, so it's 30 pounds, and you can install it and it will give you infinite steam and it will supply the water into the boiler. The standard PID does not have this mode, it only retains the temperatures. So Supersteam obviously will be better for a couple of cappuccinos. Coffee filter holder is nice to have. And let's turn on the steam. It's nice that you can see, first of all, the temperature, the room temperature before running the shot. And of course your steam as well, because it's 137. Of course it's better to give it time to stabilize. When boiler heating up, the whole machine heats up and the PID overshoots by around 4 degrees and then drops down to your brewing temperature. I think it's because, yeah, same goes here. Target temperature is 137, but it reaches higher temperature in order to heat up the boiler mass. And it is ready. Oh no, drops quite significantly. So as you can see, it starts to drift. And I will wait for it to stabilize, because obviously it's in the cycle of stabilization. I think I will get more powerful steam that way when it stabilizes, because you can see it drops to 133. I assume when it will be pretty stable, it's better to run the steam, open the valve when it's fully ready, fully, like not fluctuating that much. Like it drops to 134 and not lower, which is nice. So right away you can see that if you're gonna use your regular thermostat, it will not be enough to wait 40 seconds. It's better to keep it running. So I'm currently just narrowing the range of the temperature so that the boiler mass will be heated properly and the water inside. And I think it's great. Should be great. It's interesting how much time it will take. That's the steam. Oh yeah. That's enormous. You'll like it right away. Takes around 40 seconds, a little bit faster. Let's run the cooling process naturally. And I like the milk. It's probably the best milk texture I had ever. No bubbles, no nothing. Not sure about the amount of air because I'm not used. And you can see the texture is nice. Let's make an assessment. I don't sure about the quality of this cappuccino. It might be the best I've ever tried in my life. Like, not on this machine, but in my life overall, because it is super powerful. What I can say right away, it is totally worth getting PID because I didn't see the pressure decline, and it's not necessary to have a Supersteam mode. So the verdict right away, because we don't need any more testing, because it's perfect from the first try. The texture is super creamy. It's like eating cream. It's not like milk anymore. The most powerful texture I had ever in cappuccino. And from what I've seen in my experience with other machines like Sample Elite machine, Smeg, they had steam but not that great. So the upgraded boiler on E24 really makes the difference when it has PID, because there is enough liquid to make a proper steaming and proper swirling of espresso, even with 2 holes. I don't even sure I need 1 hole on this tip, on this wand. So, and for my personal taste preference, this kind of steam is better than standard PID like Supersteam mode will do, because it will run the pump all of the time, which creates noise. But what I didn't know about this technology of adding the water to the boiler, so it's just pumping water in, and if it adds too much water, it goes inside your tank through the OPV valve or pressure valve. So you can run the steam as long as you want, and it will just create more noise, but like more frequent noise, but it's totally fine to run Supersteam as well. But this is truly a game changer, because it's like a professional machine now. The only thing is that it needs to stabilize. So you can't avoid having this stabilization cycle, but because it's better to have a proper mass of energy to work with. And while we're still here, let's talk about the importance of PID and why it is a game changer on this machine and probably on any machine. We ran the test side by side, this machine and without PID, 9-bar spring, so the comparison was almost fair, because here we have better shower, but I'm not sure if it affects that much. So what we got in terms of the results. This machine is super stable with temperature, and it gave us super balanced, rich flavor with a pleasant aftertaste and lingering. So the sweetness was here, acidity was mild, so it was very, very pleasant, very nuanced. While on regular machine without PID, it was contrasty, it was unbalanced, considerably more acidic and bitter, with bitter aftertaste, burnt aftertaste. So it's the sign of unbalanced temperature, because it goes high, raises the temperature, and at some point we even flushed the group and seen that there is steam going out, so it overheats the boiler for sure. Overall, E24 is a great machine when you're not comparing side by side, but when you do this, it's enormous difference, and you can't unsee it when you tried it. So we set 93 degrees Celsius during these tests with specialty coffee. Relatively specialty was Brazil, but it was not Brazil. Yellow Bourbon. So it's 84 Q score, which is not that bad. In this coffee, roaster perceived more flavors, more citrus flavors, like not lemon flavor, not simple flavor of some citrus, but some nice acidic notes. Very, very interesting ones. So it opened up the potential of coffee way better than we predicted. And then we set it to 96 degrees. So we wanted to test, is it really that great? Or is it just the temperature? And yes, it produced more acidic cup. But what surprised us is that it didn't lose the balance. So the acidity was higher because of the temperature. Shot time was the same on both the machines in both cases. And the grind size obviously was the same. And the crema color also the same. This machine did not have this aftertaste, this burnt aftertaste. And it still was sweet. So That's why I think it is very valuable thing of equipment, PID. And let me explain why it works that way, because thermostat on regular machine and PID works the next way. So what do we have? We have boiler which is 128 grams, milliliters, so something like that. It's not a lot. When we run the water through the group, let's see what happens. Let's actually use the amount of water that we will have. So we have around 18 grams dose of coffee, around 18 grams of coffee, so it will need to retain around 18 or 30 grams of water in the coffee pack, and it will need to fill the space in your holder, so it's additional around, I don't know, maybe 10-15 grams of water, so it's around 40 grams right away. And what the machine does? It takes cold water and throws it into the boiler. Of course, we have thermal mass from beautiful bronze boiler, which is super heavy, 1 kilograms or 1.4 kilogram, something like that. So it's way better than aluminum, but still, the water will not be able to heat up that fast. And what this machine does, let's run. I will show you. Let's run 60 grams of water. 88 degrees, 87, 86. Of course, it's a short period of time. Shot will take a lot more time, and during this time, it will heat up during the process of running the shot. So you've seen, it stabilizes pretty fast to 90 degrees Celsius, around 90. So we injected half of a boiler with cold water, and in a regular machine without PD, it will try to reheat the boiler when it senses the drop of temperature of around 5 degrees Celsius. Here it will start to heat it up right away, because it will sense 0.1 degrees Celsius. So it will heat up right away, basically when you started the pump, because cold water will affect the measurement right away. So the brewing temperature will stay relatively close to your target temperature, while in regular machine it will drop to what you've seen. So it will experience a huge drop, and this will give you less consistency in temperature, less balance. That's why I think it is no-brainer to have PID, because it just increases the value of the machine by 10 times, 20 times. Are there any alternatives to machine with PID? Somewhat, yes. You can have a big boiler, so it will have more thermal mass to work with, and it will be more stable in terms of temperature. Another machine is Flare 58 with a heating element, so it will retain the temperature of water because you will not add cold water during the shot. Also La Pavoni lever machine, and some other machines which has boiler which you cool down in order to open. So these types of machines will have more stable temperature, but it is better, more reasonable to have PID because it just makes sense. So that's it. Thank you for watching. See you.